Middlesex is a recollection of an entire family of Callies, Calliopes, Jeffrey, Stephani / Eugeni's parents, grandparents, and some of their great-grandparents. For now, we're going to call her Cal. Cal's biology was created by a pool of incest through multiple generations. Lefty and Desdemona are siblings. Their city gets raided by the Turks. During this, they fall in love. On the trip to America, they get married, where they then live in Detroit with their cousin Sormelina. Sormelina and Desdemona happen to have babies around the same time. Zoe, Desdemona's baby, and Tessie, Lena's baby. Sometime later, after swearing she wouldn't have another baby, Desdemona has another baby named Milton. Now, many years later, when they're all grown up, Milton falls in love with Tessie. After Tessie gets engaged with another man, she realizes she made a mistake. After that, they got married and had 2 babies, Chapter 11 and Calliope.
Hermaphrodite is a person with both male and female genitalia.
Cal changes significantly throughout this novel. While Cal might have been born being thought of as a female, she was really a hermaphrodite. This is hinted by the multiple foreshadowing short stories told throughout the novel. It all starts when she's 8 years old and kisses the neighbor's daughter.
And then, somewhere below this, my heart racing. Not a thump exactly, not even a leap, but a kind of swish, like a frog kicking off of a muddy bank. My heart, the amphibian, moving that movement between 2 elements. One excitement and the other fear. I try to pay attention. I try to hold up my end of things. She swelled her head back and forth the way an actress did back in the movies. I started doing the same.
This exemplifies unnatural behavior that not a normal 8-year-old girl would go through. Whereas a racing heart, a thumping heart, or even a leaping heart are quite different. Callie says it exemplifies a swish, which makes it seem more normal. When she hints of her heart feeling fear, as she is worried she's not like other girls. As Cal grows up and goes through physical puberty, these behaviors seem to increase in her consciousness. A few years later, from
hints on Zoe let us slip out in the kitchen, I was aware that something happened to a woman so often, something they didn't like, something men didn't have to put up with, like everything else. Whatever it was, it seemed safely far off, like getting married or giving birth. In the middle of the book, Cal lets us know that his dad bought a new car every time he had a physical and emotional change in his life. This car represents when he was 8 years old and he was a girl and he was a full girl. This represents when he kissed another 8-year-old girl and he finds out his mental sexuality. This is the rough middle part where he gets hit by a truck and goes to the doctor. This is when he finds out he's a hermaphrodite. And this is when he decides he is no longer Callie and he becomes Cal the male.
Cal was foreshadowing her inability to have a period as she no longer had enough testosterone. Okay, redo. Cal was foreshadowing her inability to have a period as she had too much testosterone. The mysterious tone of this quote leads us to the fact that while at the time Cal might have known what goes on in a woman's body, she feels like it would happen to her eventually, which is pretty ironic because it doesn't. The portion of the quote,
something men didn't have to put up with,
also foreshadowed Cal's turning to a male in which he'll never have to deal with that period. After getting hit by a car, as well as kissing the object, Cal was checked out, and the doctors noticed something they hadn't before. So the next day,
Cal got up.
Cal did get up. Cal
got up. I went over to the open suitcase and checked again to see if I'd packed everything. My parents and I were leaving in an hour. We were going to New York City to see a famous doctor. I didn't know how long we'd be gone or what was wrong with me. I didn't pay much attention to details. I only knew I was no longer a girl like other girls.
Towards the middle of the book, Cal's parents, Milton and Tessie, buy a set of Greek philosophy and religious books. And so here we have a philosophy book. Now, they stop reading it because they get kind of bored of it. So then Cal picks up the books and starts reading it, and I think it really changed her outlook of herself. All of the foreshadowing, all of the weird puberty problems Cal was going through finally led her to the conclusion that she was.
No longer a girl like other girls.
The fact that Cal was not paying close attention to detail reveals that frick. All of the foreshadowing, all of the weird puberty problems Cal was going through finally led her to the conclusion that she was.
No longer a girl like other girls.
The fact that Cal was not paying close attention to detail reveals that she realizes something is wrong, and that she is quite nervous about it. The quote indicates enormous mental change, putting Cal in a reality check, making her even more nervous. After checking her case files proclaiming that the fact that she is hermaphrodite and needs surgery, Cal writes a letter saying Cal is no longer female, he is male, saying that.
Despite its content, I signed this declaration to my parents. Callie. It was the last time I was ever their daughter.
So, Desdemona would predict the gender of newborn babies with a spoon. And she actually predicted Cal's to be a male. And she was very surprised when she was a female. But towards the end of the book, she says, I was right about the spoon. Which all along, she was right. He wound up being a male. So yeah, here's a spoon. This letter was obviously a very emotional and sensitive letter. Cal's declaration towards signing it shows the audience that Cal knows what he is or what he wants and is very confident about it. By saying his previous name and ending the quote off with,
It was the last time I was ever their daughter.
Cal is exemplifying that he is no longer Callie but a male. In most of the chapters throughout the novel, Cal started it out with talking about his romantic life. How he always would leave at the last second before anything got too intimate, until he met a woman named Julie Kikuchi. He slowly grew fond of her throughout the novel's tiny excerpts of their interactions. How was finally changing, and it paid off when he
led Julie into the bedroom, where he hadn't led anyone in quite a long time. She switched off the lights. Wait a minute, I said. Are you turning off the lights because of you or because of me? Because of me? Why? Because I'm a shy, modest-oriented lady. Just don't expect me to bathe you. No bathing? No, unless you do the Zorba dance. Where did I put that bouzouki of mine, anyways? I was trying to keep up the banter. I was also taking off my clothes. So was Julie. It was like jumping into cold water. You had to do it without thinking too much. We got under the covers and we held each other, petrified, happy. I might be your last stop too, I said, clinging to her. Did you ever think that? And Julie Kikuchi answered, it crossed my mind.
Cal expresses his remodeled attitude towards relationships when he led Julie into the room where he
hadn't led anyone in quite a long time.
Showing how comfortable Julie was made Cal feel good. Then, for a reason that we can only infer is similar to Cal's, Julie turned off the lights, where Cal was assured it wasn't because of him. Cal then brings up an astonishing metaphor in which he refers to the cold water to not thinking about his problems while in bed with Julie. Finally, Cal and Julie agree that they are right for each other and most likely to move on with their lives. Throughout the novel, we can discern that Cal's changes significantly. The first thing Cal notices as a young female is him enjoying kissing a girl. Then major alteration and the mental state of Cal allows the reader to see his actual sexuality. In addition, he becomes aware after a traumatic accident and thorough examinations of Cal that Cal is not like other girls. He goes to a famous specialized doctor and reads her own file. Not liking its contents, she writes a letter to his parents claiming that this isn't the last time he was the parent's daughter. He runs away from many people through his childhood years, claiming that he's afraid of their reaction. I messed it up. It wasn't childhood, it was adulthood.
Okay, we'll just start from the last quote. I mean, we didn't really move much, so.
So much reading. Showing how comfortable Julie was made Cal feel good. Showing how comfortable Julie was made Cal feel good. Then, for a reason that we can only infer is similar to Cal's, Julie turns off their lights, where Cal is assured it wasn't because of him. Cal then brings up an astonishing metaphor in which he refers to cold water to not thinking about his problems while in bed with Julie. Finally, Cal and Julie agree that they are right for each other and most likely going to move on with their lives together. Throughout the novel, we can discern that Cal changes significantly. The first thing Cal notices as a younger female is his enjoy kissing another girl. This major alteration in mental state of Cal allows the reader to see his actual sexuality. In addition, he becomes aware after a traumatic accident and thorough examinations of Cal that Cal is not like other girls. He goes to a famous specialist doctor and reads her own file. Not liking its content, he writes a letter to his parents proclaiming that this is the last time he was the parent's daughter. He runs away from many people throughout his adulthood years, claiming that he's afraid of their reaction, which seems quite reasonable. However, Cal ends up sticking with an extraordinarily accepting girl named Julie Kikuchi, and he is not only relieved when he was respected by her, but is finally willing to change for the better of his life. Yeah.